Truman took office as president on April 12, 1945, following the death of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. As vice president, he was only informed of the Manhattan Project once he took office. The Manhattan Project was an attempt to create atomic bombs during World War II. With World War II still going on and other countries developing their own atomic bombs, Truman decided to continue. Japan was willing to fight to their death and refusing to surrender even though they were already defeated. Truman faced the decision of whether to drop the first atomic bomb on Japan to end the war. Truman had four options: continue conventional bombing of Japanese cities, invade Japan, demonstrate the bomb on an unpopulated island, or drop the bomb on an inhabited Japanese city. After demanding for unconditional surrenders and making threats of mass destruction, Japan continued to fight. Truman and his interim committee decided that the first three options would be ineffective, so they decided that dropping the atomic bombs on Japan would be the best decision. Truman knew that if he didn't use the bombs, the war would not only last longer, but would result in the loss of many more American casualties. To save the lives of Americans and to end the war quickly, Truman decided to use the atomic bombs. Truman decided to drop the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which had military and industrial significance, instead of the largest Japanese cities of Tokyo and Kyoto. His reason was because he wanted to destroy Japan's ability to make war rather than destroy their culture, so Hiroshima and Nagasaki were the target cities of the bombs. The bomb on Hiroshima was dropped on August 6, 1945, and 3 days later, on August 9, 1945, the second bomb was. Immediately after the bombs were dropped on Japan, controversy about his decision appeared, and his decision is still debated today. Americans have been split, where some say Truman's decision was necessary to end the war with Japan and to prevent a large amount of American casualties, and those who say the bombs were unnecessary because of the devastating impact the bombs. Once Japan announced their surrender to the United States, Americans at home were ecstatic and thankful now that the war was finally over due to the use of the bombs. Why the bombs were necessary. The bombs led to a speedy conclusion of the war. Truman's other options were ineffective. It prevented a large amount of American casualties, and it was the only effective way to get Japan to surrender. Why the bombs were unnecessary. The bombs killed 70,000 people in Hiroshima, 80,000 in Nagasaki, and another 100,000 from radiation and burns. The use of the bombs was immoral and avoidable. It was a war crime and an act of terrorism. The Soviet Union declared war on them and invaded Japan, so that caused them to surrender to the United States rather than the bombs. And dropping the second bomb was Along with the controversy facing Truman's decision, the threats of nuclear bombs and missiles has also increased. The atomic bombs dropped on Japan were the first bombs ever used, and the technology has led to the creation and threats of atomic bombs today. Since 1945, the Soviet Union has threatened the use of atomic bombs during the Cold War. The Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962 has occurred, and today North Korea threatens the use. Today, there are over 14,000 nuclear weapons around the world, possessed by 9 countries. The United States and Russia account for 92% of the total nuclear weapons around the world. There have only been 2 nuclear bombs used throughout history, which were the 2 used by Truman in August of 1945 to end the war with Japan.